Morning, everybody. Right, who's this big person stood in front of you with a pink shirt on? As Robin said, I run Idle Interface. You actually see it all, yes. We're up until about 18 months ago, we were based as an e-commerce and strategic business consultancy based in London, but moved my business up to Glasgow 18 months ago, or as I politely put it, I married a girl from Paisley, I married a homing pigeon, and I've come back to Scotland. Some of our clients, small names typically, some large ones we have, you probably know the City Legacy, which is the Athletes Village, which is in Glasgow for the Commonwealth Games. Actually, Private Fly is a private jet brokerage. They're really good. They sort of aggregate. If you want to fly from Edinburgh to, I don't know, you want to Switzerland tomorrow morning, they will get you a flight at a very expensive rate, but they'll get you a nice flight straight away. So they're aggregating. They're a new business in the digital economy. They are going far and fast. We love them. So I'm here to talk to you about the opportunity, doing stuff out there better, faster. Really, for tourism and travel, it's about thinking big and thinking global. There are, I think, 7 billion people now on the planet, of which 2 billion are actually connected to the internet. And by, in about 2-3 years' time, with the Internet of Things, we'll have more connected devices than there will be people on the planet. This rate of growth still in internet usage is still heading north. Or in financial terms, last year, in dollars, because everything's done in dollars on a global basis, it was $8 trillion changing hands through online transactions. And most businesses now in the developed world, especially SMEs, are taking some advantage of the web presence. E-commerce specifically, the definitions differ on what it is, or even if there's a hyphen. And I remember having half an hour conversation with Pete Mofel, who's probably at the back, on whether there is actually a hyphen in e-commerce. But Wikipedia has put the blatant statement up there and says the buying and selling of stuff across the web. But it's not just business-to-business communications, it's not just business-to-business retail, there's business-to-consumer. There's actually lots of stuff that gets transferred direct all the time. That's like the bottom of the actual iceberg part. You can't see. There's huge amounts of transactions going on. But more in the tourist sector, in the B2C, if you've ever read this is produced actually almost 2 years ago now. This is sponsored by Scottish Enterprise. This is the Scottish e-commerce study. There is, even though it's now about a couple of years old, there's some really useful stuff in there, so I'm just going to quote from it. This is from the official Office of National Statistics, and actually shows here, I'll tweet it later on, you can see if you can't see this right now. The two boxes I've highlighted are transport and storage, which probably is a little bit tourism, and accommodation and food services. Now, a couple of years ago, only 18% of transport and 14% of actually businesses sold over the web. I was actually quite shocked. I'm thinking, it must be much, much higher. I know it's growing, but that's quite a low figure. But flipping that round, if you look at those businesses globally, the percentage, the UK actually has one of the highest proportions of businesses that still sell online. And as far as quoted last, I think it was about 4 months ago, the UK leads, along with the USA and a couple of other markets, leads as far as e-commerce maturity goes. So actually, you have the opportunity here. You're in a great position. We're not at the bottom of the barrel, not at the bottom of stuff. We're actually in one of the most mature e-commerce markets there is out there. So we've got a chance to learn. It's not all pie in the sky stuff. It's not all Google Gloss. There's some great stuff to learn from. Or putting it another way, if you look at the population, and you'll probably say, well, okay, that's great, everybody's online, but where's my market? Where do I go and get my business from? Europe has a 62% penetration for internet usage, or in other words, 500 million people online. And that figure is actually, about half of that, those people, compared to in the States. So we actually have, in Europe, far more users using the internet in Europe than in the USA. But North Europe compares to North America compares to South America as far as population of internet users go, but they've only got a much lower penetration. And the Middle East has only got about the same number again, but only 20% of people are actually connected. The big elephant in the room is the big Asian elephant, which is there are 1.1 billion online users in Asia. So, I know, if you're saying, well, you're a tourism business, where am I likely to go? Well, you pick from your audience, you pick from where people are, but that number's going to go up again, and you have to understand that that market is maturing, and they're coming, or they could come. It's also matched by online spend. USA still has the biggest online spend. Per capita, it's quite huge, actually. Which dwarfs the UK. But the UK, as I said, dwarfs Germany and other sort of more mature markets. India has only got a very small e-commerce market. It's coming up huge. So again, if you're looking for where to target your tourism business, you're saying, where's the market going to be in 18 months, a year? Where's it going to go? All these markets are maturing. They're all coming up. But some of them are not mature yet. Some of them don't have that huge amount of people either online or the huge amount of bucks to spend, but they're coming. It's not just about what's there right now and doing all the same stuff. The e-commerce opportunity means that you don't have to replicate your print brochure. You don't actually have any physical restrictions. So if you've got a store and you only have a certain number of brochures to print out, you can print an infinite number in different ways and package your product up in multiple different ways on the internet than you can just with that brochure. You can, as I put the other day, you can kiss quite a lot of frogs and see which one turns into a prince or princess. You can test and learn at a phenomenal rate. I describe the modern economy now as standing on the balls of your feet rather than sat down on your backside. You've got to be ready, you've got to be able, you've got to be agile in that awful development term, but you've also got to be able to take the punch. There's lots and lots of changes happening all the time, and if each one of these technology changes is a little punch, you've got to be able to stand up on the balls of your feet, being able to react quicker rather than sat down going, I'm ready, thank you very much. Doesn't work anymore. As I say, kiss a few frogs and see which one turns into princess. Try one product in one market, try multiple products in multiple markets, test and learn. But forget about international e-commerce if you can't get your basics right at home first. Get your stuff sorted and make sure it works. The basics will serve, the basics you put in place can serve really how you deliver to any real global market. Make sure you've got your product. Make sure your product online is well classified, it's well described, it's well shot if you're doing an actual product, or you've got your tours, if you've got great photographs, you've got great imagery. You're trying to sell your business. Payments and security. Make sure you're able to take transactions, not just in pounds, but speak to your payment service provider online. Make sure you can take dollars or yen or whatever. You'd be surprised the amount of payment service providers that go, we don't do that, or it's an extra cost. Make sure you speak to them. Luckily, PayPal's all right. You can transact in nearly any currency. And make sure if you've got a product or you actually, you're going to have to return or you're going to release inventory, that you can do that really quickly. In the global economy, a lot of people I see, clients have problems with customer service. In other words, they put stuff online and think that when they shut their customer service department at 6 and everybody goes home, and they can't understand why the phone's still ringing off the hook, because the globe is a 24-hour business, and just because your customer services go home doesn't mean that your clients do. And you've got to think about your marketing in terms of, international SEO is a really complex thing because different terms in different markets mean different things and bring up different search results. It's not all that you can see in UK version of Google. There are multiple versions out there. There's even a Klingon version. Making sure that your user experience works across multiple regions, but get it right first of all, and make sure it works. It takes people, it persuades people through that customer journey. And measure. Measure what you're doing. Actually, let's talk about that. Okay, some of you have seen me do this presentation before. You can sit down. For those who run a website, not a supplier or a consultant, could you possibly stand up, please? Just for me, indulge me, please. All right, this is like the Graham Norton show. So stay standing if that website is a transactional e-commerce site and you're taking payments. Now stand up if you're actually using analytics on that site. Good. Stay standing if you're using to get regular key performance indicators off of it, if you're tracking stuff properly and you're matching it to your business metrics. Standing up if you've actually got goals set up on your site so you can actually track goals and what people complete. And stand up if you're measuring this in real time or you're able to measure real-time users or visitors on your site. Stand back up again. Right. The awful thing is, and I'm not a salesman for Google, this is all freely available in Google Analytics. You're able to connect all of that stuff all together. It's free. And I do hope if I ever get to present this pack again, I probably won't, the next time I do this at a presentation, that I'll have more people stood up. Please take advantage of that. There is an opportunity. Just to recap, because I think I've got about 1 minute left. We lead the world in e-commerce maturity, and you've got to take advantage of that. Markets are really growing. The different markets are growing all the time in their maturity. We won't be at the pinnacle of e-commerce maturity forever, so use that advantage. You're competing on a global stage, so just like your analytics will tell you, who's coming, when they're coming, from what country, in what language, using what currency. You can find all this out, and you can learn and you can develop very quickly. Basically, understand where your customers are. There's an awful lot of free stuff, as I said, with Google Analytics and all that sort of stuff. So use it for free. There's a reason why so many new startups and businesses do quite well and are able to do quite well for a lot of money. It's they all use the free stuff. Now, there's loads of it out there. Please use it. But if I'm going to give you one piece of advice, which is stand on the balls of your feet, get ready to take the punches. These new developers are coming. Test, learn, test, learn. Come up with a hypothesis. What's going to work? Test it, prove it, disprove it, and move on very quickly. And hopefully, by the time I present next time, we'll have moved these arrows up a bit. So if that's my plea, let's all move those arrows up. So that's really it. Short and sweet. Thank you very much. Now, please don't clap because I'm now going to introduce Linda, you're going to come up?
Yes, thank you.
Jamie, you coming up as well? I'm really only the entree, really, for the main course. Linda's from the Royal Britannia and Jamie's from Dog Digital. I usually give a case study at the end of my presentation, but there's no point in giving a case study. They are the case study, and you're more likely to want to hear from them. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Hayden, for that introduction. And this is a whistle-stop tour from myself and Jamie. So we'll speed on. It's our journey with website and digital. And I'm doing a bit how we got here. We're so far not there yet. The survey makes me feel a bit better about where we really are. And Jamie will then look at the second half and where we're going to. Also, just to let you know, our website, talking about change, our website at the moment is being migrated as we speak. So I hope no one was trying to refer to it online. But it's almost there. So that's in the process of happening just now. So very dynamic at the moment. Our story, about 18 months ago, I was asked or told, get a website. At that point, our website, we had very little content management on it. We had no CRM, we dabbled in social media, and we had no online ticketing whatsoever. So you could say it was a fantastic opportunity for us to really start from scratch and create a digital universe. And we really thought, we want to do this. We really want to go for it. It obviously had to reflect, first and foremost, the values of Britannia. And in that, we set the tone of the brand. And we always imagine, we do this with PR and everything, that the Queen's standing in the room. So actually, she's just over there today. And the values were, she's an elegant, iconic ship, renowned for the highest standards of customer service then, and we try to emulate that now. Initially, we worked with an agency called Precedent, who are based in Edinburgh, and with their creative team, really tried to get under the skin of what Britannia means to everyone. We developed customer personas, we did working groups internally, externally, and it was actually a great fun creative process, and I think fun's important when you're really trying to push the boat out, excuse the pun, I didn't mean that, but really drive up the creative process. And we got to write on the walls, we did loads of fun stuff like that, and it does work, it really does seem to bring out the best, or we think it does anyway. Just to give you a feel of that, we created themes across trying to emulate all the areas, or reflect all the areas on Britannia. The first of these, sort of mixing the then and now, this is Britannia now. The glamour, the family, the fun that was going on. We even sort of incorporated little videos there. You'll see Diana with the boys there, a sort of famous moment from years ago. The famous people and all the places that she'd seen on her 44 years traveling around the globe. Her style, an ultimate time capsule of style. And of course, very importantly, below the decks, what the yachtsmen worked hard and played hard. They had loads of fun on board as well. But most importantly, it had to be a living and breathing ship. And one of the brilliant ideas, I have to say, this is our chief executive, many of you know Bob Downey, he came up with this, the biggest Luddite in the world at the time. He said, this was a tradition on Britannia, to have someone called Snaps, and they would go with the ship, taking lots of pictures. And he said, let's get a photographer in residence. And it's been amazing. And we've really built that into getting behind the scenes, seeing what happens on Britannia day to day, all the stories that come out. I think that just maybe gives you a bit of a glimpse at the moment. When I arrived there, I was told nothing happens here, there's no news. But actually, when you get under the skin, it's fantastic, and it has to be not a dusty old museum. A living, breathing ship is what we're after. Be our guest is our motto, and everything, we open early to let visitors in. We never ask visitors to leave, which can be tricky at times. If we find out it's their birthday, we buy them a cake and a glass of fizz. And we're trying to create that online. We're so far from it at the moment, I have to say. But things we're doing, this is the most overdone map you'll ever see on the planet, I think. It gives blow-by-blow instructions of how to get to Britannia. And we actually went the route and photographed as we went. We're trying to take the offline processes online. And it was a big challenge to persuade our chief executive that we needed to do online ticketing. He's so focused on the customer journey, getting the customer right. He didn't feel we were ready. We couldn't offer fast track at that point. We couldn't do discount. We don't do discount generally. We try not to do that. But he wasn't. It took a lot of persuasion. Probably the hardest thing we did, I think. Nurturing is something that we're doing. We're building relationships across all our channels. This is our blog, I think. Yeah, our blog at the moment. It's not properly online yet. Jamie will cover that aspect next. But it's started, the content's there, it's just not being seen at the moment. The newsletter's going very well. We're getting about 30%. Remember, we didn't have any 18 months ago. So we're quite proud of this bit, actually, that they're getting between 30 and 50% open rate at the moment. Our blog, as I said, hasn't yet been integrated into the main website, but it's showing up at about number 10, I think it is. Shelley, who's here, would probably confirm that. Number 10 are referring sites. Social media, obviously nurturing relationships. We're getting good relationships built up there, but also working as referral sites. And, Facebook's number 2 now as our top referral, and TripAdvisor at number 4. And we actually have 4,000 TripAdvisor reviews, which we actually, Shelley, who's in the room, as I said, actually replies to every single one of these. So it's a fun task, but it's so important for us, and it's becoming a driver now to the site. As well as photography, just skipping through, so I'm probably running out of time here. We have, as well as photographs, we also started doing videos. One of them, for instance, our master sommelier doing wine tasting. And one that we did just before Christmas, actually, was a review of the year, Britannian Pictures, which got about 400 views on YouTube. Not great, But it also got picked up by STV Online, BBC, and the Edinburgh Reporters. So suddenly, you know, it starts being broadcast wider. And just really to finish up, that where we are, may sound somewhat good. We're very disappointed at the moment. We love the look of the site. It looks fantastic. We love what we're doing. We love the content. And we think we're doing not a bad job there. But our actual visitor numbers on board have increased by 50,000 in 2 years. So we're thrilled about that. Our website visitors haven't increased particularly, very marginally by 10%. Our online ticketing has been, I mean, you probably look at me around the room and go, is that it? But about 175,000 to date. So of the potential, it's tiny. It's a tiny amount. So we really want to grow that. We're not testing and measuring. We should be testing and learning. We want to try. We're desperate to try. But we just haven't had the facility to do that now. So I think really just to say that we are very proud of our beautiful painting, but at the moment it's not on show the way it should be, and we want it to be. We want to keep moving and changing and be dynamic. At which point I'd like to introduce Jamie from Dog Digital.
Thank you, Linda, and good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to be here to be talking with Linda and Willie at Britannia, one of my absolute favourite clients as well, I hope you agree. Brownie points for me. Yes, just like to be here to talk about the future for Britannia. For those of you who perhaps don't know who Dog Digital are, we refer to ourselves as a creative partner in a digital world, so we like to focus on creative relationships and making them digital and how we can do that. We've got offices in Glasgow, London and Singapore, and some of our clients are up here. So we've got UEFA, do a lot of work for DF Concerts and Tea in the Park, Visit Scotland and Scottish Enterprise, so there's quite a few we work with here. But now to discuss more about what we're doing with Britannia. So as Linda said, we've got this beautiful painting, the website's really lovely, it's got lovely impact to it, but it's just not been seen, so what can we do to change that up and make people more connected to it across all channels, not just kind of coming to the boat on site. So what can we do digitally there? So we started working with Linda and her team at Britannia just the tail end of last year, and we worked on some little projects to start with, just to kind of build up that relationship. So one of the first things that we did was sharing knowledge with our team. So we had some social media training sessions and some SEO training sessions. So for social media, it was all about some tips and tricks and just little things that you could maybe do a little bit better because they're already doing it quite well, so it was not much to talk about there. And then the SEO training really is to break down all that jargon that I'm sure you're all aware that goes with that industry, so kind of demystify the SEO tactics there. Another thing obviously we were looking at was educating, so that wasn't just educating Britannia, that was educating ourselves. So it's really important for us to audit the website. We put on some heat mapping software to understand how people are actually using the website before we move forward, so we're making informed decisions. So tracking is also very important to what we do, so we're setting up the right kind of tracking to make sure that everything that we deliver is completely transparent to Britannia, and to also ensure that they can report back to the people they need to on all the results. So we're in the final stages of migrating the blog from the subdomain to the main domain. That's just purely to benefit all the SEO value, so we're hoping to get that in the mix in the next week or so. And as Linda said, we've moved the website under our roof at Dog Digital, so we're looking forward to working with our developers, designers and the whole team with Britannia to improve that experience. So what do we do now? Well, the first port call for us is to look at some SEO. So this is something that Britannia haven't really looked at so far. We thought there's some really quick wins to be had here. And really the main objectives for us in Britannia of SEO is just to expand that audience reach. As Linda said, there's not much traffic coming to the website and they're quite local terms just located to Edinburgh, and we want to expand that because it's an attraction that anyone coming to the UK would want to see. We want to drive quality traffic, and by quality I don't mean questionable quantity, so we don't want loads of questionable traffic, we want really good traffic that's going to get there and do what you want them to do. We want to strengthen the engaged users, so people who come to Britannia are already quite strong with the brand and they like it, but we want to make sure we can strengthen their affinity before they come, whilst they're there, and after through all methods of digital channels. And we want to leverage online purchases. So obviously that's through the shop and also ticket buying as well. So our approach to this and how we're going to do it We'll take the basic steps for SEO at the start. There'll be some quick wins to have there. And then we're going to look at some more, expand on the techniques. So content optimization, content promotion, and working with the social media team at Britannia to make sure we're promoting everything the right way. So the next step for us as well is to look at social advertising and other opportunities. So this is another step that we can take. It's not making big steps, it's just little steps to build up this experience. At DOG, we do a lot of social advertising, so we work with people at Twitter, and we work a lot with gigs in Scotland to do some Twitter advertising. What we could do here with Britannia is keyword target people, perhaps come into the Edinburgh area and target them with Twitter ads. We'd also look at doing some Facebook ads, LinkedIn as well, which is going to be perfect for the corporate event side of things, and we've already got some plans in motion for that. And Google remarketing, which is going to be absolutely perfect for improving that e-commerce side of things. So it means that we can continue marketing to users who visited the site but perhaps haven't completed a goal. The next step for us really is reporting, analysing and communication. So that runs through everything that we do. We make sure we're reporting, we make sure we're analysing on our stats, and we make sure that we're communicating it in the right way to Britannia. So we're not just going to click an email and send this big massive report. We're going to make sure it's broken down and we're sharing information and bouncing ideas off each other to improve that experience. And the final thing that we'll do is we'll never stop optimising. So at Dog Digital, we're very used to this, as you can see. When we worked on the UEFA campaign for Euro 2012, we had 3,500 different ads, constantly optimising them. But this isn't stop at ads. This means we're going to optimise the website with our creative team. We'll optimise with the developers, we'll optimise the user experience. Everything, we'll never stop optimising for them. And that's kind of at the end of what we're going to talk about. I'm just delighted to be here and looking forward to the future with Royal Britannia. Thank you.